Hey everyone, this is Alex from Innovation in Tech Today. I'm here in Boulder, Colorado at the office of Serenity Forge. I'm joined by Z Yang, the executive producer of Serenity Forge. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
All right, today we're just going to be talking about indie gaming, Serenity Forge, and everything in that realm. So, to start off, let's just start at the beginning. How did Serenity Forge come together? How did the idea come to fruition, and how did it get started?
Yeah, so this is kind of a funny story, but being in Colorado, one of the things that you really learn regarding the game industry is that it's tiny here. There's not much of an industry, not many people making games. So what happened is when I was in high school, I wanted to be a game designer, and I went ahead and tried to apply to every single company that was in Colorado. Which was like 3, and then I heard back from one, and it was literally just one person telling me, "Hey, dude, I'm just some kid in my mom's basement making games. Stop applying. I'm not a company."
Okay.
So at that point, I realized that, hey, I'm just a dude in my mom's basement, right? Like, why can't I start my own team too? And that's kind of how I started Serenity Forge. I grabbed some of my friends from high school, and we just kept on working at it.
And so, the Serenity Forge website, sort of like the tagline on the homepage says, creating interactive experiences that challenge the way you think. So what does that look like in practice? Like, what does that mean to you? Like, why use that tagline, and what does that, how does that look in your video games?
Yeah, the way that we see games, or just pretty much every product that's out there in the world, especially in tech nowadays, is that if it doesn't serve some kind of a purpose, then it's essentially useless, right? You see so many different games out there that train kids how to shoot people, or waste time on your phone knocking over bricks or something like that. There's just too many of them, and we don't feel like that's the right direction, or at least the direction we wanted to go with the game industry. So whenever we come up with an idea, we always ask ourselves, what is this game doing to society? What are we contributing to society with this game? What is the purpose? And without a clear answer, a good answer to that question, then it's probably not a game that we'd be interested in making.
And then kind of bouncing off that, so let's say, you're brainstorming an idea, or someone's pitching an idea. I mean, what does Serenity Forge look for in a video game? What's one theme or one aspect that can almost be found in all of your video games, that there's kind of like that one core piece that you're always looking for, that a game needs?
That's a hard question to answer. I know that a lot of our fans have voiced specifically that there is a clear theme that ties all of our products together, but they can't really put their finger on it.
Okay.
And the truth is, we can't really do so either. I think really what matters to us is exactly what I said earlier, which is things that really make a difference, things that drive meaning. And when we look at a game, it's pretty easy to tell whether or not the game developer originally intended for this game to do something, or is just trying to make a quick buck, or trying to get some publisher money to fund his next project or something like that. I think the way that we approach selecting projects has always been just gut feeling. This is what we want to be in. Together for the long haul kind of a product, rather than just just get it done, get it out the door, and make some quick money.
Yeah. And so, for our viewers that may not know, I was wondering if you could actually kind of walk through, the steps of making a video game, like starting at the actual conception, all the way through the development and actual publishing of it.
The way that we approach things is always anyone in our company is able to pitch a game, any type of game. And if the game is an idea that the rest of us are very captivated by, then that person will be the creative director for that game, no matter what position they currently actually are on the team. So pretty much all of our games came from someone on our team, and we never have a centralized creative director because of that. And then, we go into the pre-production phase, which is typically just making plans on, how the next year and a half is going to go while we're making it. And then we go into the production phase, where we're just hard at work making actual in-game assets, like drawing things, or making 3D models, or actually coding the engine. And then once we get to a part where we can start showing the game off to different people, different press outlets and all that, we start reaching out to them, sending them trailers, sending them press releases that contains different types of codes for review and all that. And then in addition to that, also YouTubers and streamers that we'll have to be reaching out to, and then we release the game.
What's sort of like the average time it takes to develop a game, or is it just all over the board depending on the game?
So I mean, it's all over the board, and that's the short answer. The longest game that we have ever worked on is so far The King's Word. I believe we've been working on that for 3.5, almost 4 years now. And the reason behind it is because it's always been a small tackle team that's been working on it instead of our whole company. So like 2-3 people working on it for that long. The shortest game we ever released was a random mobile game that we wanted to just test out the market on, and we made that game in literally 2 hours. And released it within a week when Apple approved it on the App Store. So it really could go from all sources of spectrum there.
What can people expect from Serenity Forge coming out this year?
Yeah, we have a lot of games coming out this year. We haven't, announced a lot of these things, but some of our main focuses are the new consoles. Most notably the Nintendo Switch. So we have a few Nintendo Switch games coming out, which is very exciting. We are working with other consoles as well, like the Xbox One and the PS4. And of course, Steam is always a huge platform that we're going to be releasing on. So a few games to note. A Case of Distrust will be coming out in early February, which is a detective mystery game that we're very excited for. And then later this year, we have Once Upon a Coma, The King's Bird, and also Mystic Melee full release later this year, which is also very exciting. It's going to be a pretty busy year for us.
Very cool. And maybe it's kind of like choosing a favorite child, but do you have a personal favorite game that's come out of Serenity Forge?
Honestly, I don't think so. So I get asked that question once in a while, and I really thought about it pretty hard. Like after this one interview, I was like, why don't I have an answer to this? And I thought about it, and here's why. As an artist, as a creator, I suppose, of anything, right? At the end of creating that product, you always feel the worst about it. And the reason is because you've been growing, right? When you start tackling a project, you're always thinking about a project that is maybe a little bit too hard for you to handle at the moment. But through the next couple years of working on that product, you become way better. And then at the end of its phase, you are probably too good to be even working on that game anymore for us. So whenever we release a game, we're always feeling like, man, why are we even working on this? We're so much better than it. So because of that unfortunate dilemma, we always feel like we're just these games are all just not as good as we think we could have done essentially.
So like, do you have like a favorite video game that kind of like inspires you, or that has always inspired you? That's kind of like just like a favorite all-time video game that just kind of blew your mind like the first time you played it and kind of set you on this journey.
Yeah, the games that really influenced me, surprisingly enough, are actually not very are not very popular. So I can name a couple games that I'm sure no one's ever heard of that really influenced me. But there was one particular series that's actually localized in America called Uncharted Waters. That was a navigation game set in the age of exploration that was released like in the early 1990s, and that was a huge inspiration for me because of the educational nature of just how much geography I learned from a game that was so fun. Besides that, games, a lot of indie games like Bastion really influenced me in terms of quality control and just how much care you can put into the polish of a game. And also another a series of games, Fire Emblem, is one of my personal favorites, and I just really like how the genre ended up pacing out throughout the years.
Yeah, very cool. And so, final question. Do you have any sort of piece of advice? Let's say someone out there is watching, wants to get into game development, maybe has an idea for a game, but doesn't know where to start. What advice would you give to that person who wants to get into game development?
Yeah, I think the first answer that everyone is going to say to that question, or at least people in the industry, is to just start making games. Go out there and start working on one. It's easier now than ever to get into the game industry. Software like Unity is free, and you can easily just pick it up and start making your own game with it. If you don't feel like touching code, you can always pick up certain things like Twine or RPG Maker, Game Maker, or even Scratch. I mean, these are all things that anyone, students especially, can just pick up and start making their own interactive experiences with. However, to me, I feel like the thing that really motivated me in the beginning is to find other people who are similarly as passionate as you are, and go meet as many people as possible. There's a lot of local Colorado-based game developer events, parties, meetups, and all that. I highly recommend just going to some of these and just telling people that, hey, I'm looking to get started. How do I get started? You're gonna meet some of the best game developers just hanging out, and they'll be happy to help you too.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, this has been Alex with Innovation in Tech today. Make sure to stay tuned to Serenity Forge for all the great games they have coming out this year. And thanks for watching. Hey YouTubers, thanks for watching our video. But views alone doth butter no parsnips. So please go and subscribe to our channel for more Innovation in Tech Today content.